Hello, Facebook Live. Hello, hello. Hi, good morning, good morning, good morning. Hi, Willette. Hi, Candace. Good morning, good morning. Hi, Cole. Thank you so much for joining. Hi, Gregory Knight. Hi, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Hi, Mala. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for joining. Hello, hello, hello. So listen, guys, I was talking to one of my boot campers, and we were just having a conversation because she is, good afternoon, good afternoon. Hi, Miss Lady. Good to see you. Good to see you. God blessing. God blessing. God blessing. I am in Southern California, so it is still morning here. But I know that many of you guys are chiming in. Hi from the East Coast or the Central area, and I am simulcasting. I'm on Facebook Live as well as on Periscope. So I wanted to just share this information with you and answer any questions that you might have. Good morning, Wendy, or good afternoon, if that's where you are. Thank you guys so much for chiming in. Please, on Periscope, please invite your followers. Please, please, please invite your followers. Anyone that you know who might be interested in this information about how to get grant funding, okay? And to my Facebook Live people, if you would like to share this information, I am Jen, the Grant Guru. I have been raising money, working with nonprofit organizations for close to 30 years. What I do in my role in working with nonprofits is I train organizations. Hi, Q Wood. Thank you so much for joining. I train organizations on how not only to identify grant funding, but how to think about their organizational structure for sustainable funding. Because if in fact you do and are awarded a grant successfully, you also need to think about organizational sustainability. So I train, I coach, I mentor, I come into your organizations and help you set up systems to make sure that not only do you get the first gift, but that you can also continue to get gifts, right? Sustainability is key. And how to take your program that you are seeking grant dollars for to get other funding, because grant money only makes up 20% of your organizational budget. You need to be able to use that program to help leverage the other 80% for your organizational sustainability. Okay, so that's what I talk about today. Today, who would like grant funding? Put a one in the chat. Put a one in the chat if you are looking for grant funding. All right, if you are looking for grant funding. And why I ask that question is this: I am not only a grant writer, a grant researcher, but I'm also a grant reviewer. What that means, thank you so much, thank you so much. As a grant reviewer, what that means is that once you've put your grant proposal together, once you have completed it and you have sent it back to the funder, they call in people such as myself and we review those proposals and we make the determination on who in fact is going to get funding. All right, so being a grant reviewer is key, because we have certain criteria that we are looking for on behalf of the funder. We have information internally around the conversations that we have at the table to determine who actually gets moved forward for funding. All right. So the question that I'm always asked is, Jen, are there grant dollars for my program? Do you think that my program could get grant funding? And I always say the question is not if there's grant funding. Yes, there are grants out there. That's not the question. The question is, am I in the best position possible to receive that grant funding? Because those organizations that actually get awarded grants meet a certain criteria. Now, again, guys, I have been doing this work for close to 30 years, right? So in my head, I understand what that means. But I was having a conversation this morning with one of my boot campers who is just starting out on her organization. She does not yet have her 501c3, but she desires to put together her program first, because she knows that by the time she gets the award letter from the state that she does have her 501c3 status, she needs a program, because many people go forward, pay that money, get file their paperwork, get the board of directors, get their bylaws, get all of that stuff, right? Their articles of incorporation. Hi, Platinum. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you guys so much for the hearts. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. That you go through all of this work, to get your status, but you don't have a program. And that is where your organization is going to deliver its services and leverage for funding. That is why having a program is clear. So I'm having this conversation with her. Hi, Natural Bell. Good to see you. Platinum, thank you so much for inviting followers. I appreciate that. Hey, girl. Hey. Hi, Candace. Thank you so much for coming back. So in my conversation this morning, I'm saying to her, listen, we need to make sure that your program is in the best position possible. I need to reach you offline. All right. Awesome. Okay, we'll talk offline. Okay. Send me an email with your number. Thank you so much, Candace. I appreciate that. So listen, guys, I'm going to tell you right now what happens at the table when we are having the conversation of which organizations are awarded, right? Hi, Moncherie. Hi, good to see you. Now, it never occurred to me, again, because I do this for so long, I'm just kind of like on my, doing my thing. And she said to me this morning, she said, well, what organizations get funded? And I thought, haven't I not been saying that? Maybe I have not said that. So let me tell you, right? It totally made me stop in my tracks because you guys know I am so interested in making sure that you all are successful in going forward with your grant seeking. But if I've in some way not communicated clearly what that looks like, please stop me. Please say, wait, Jen, I don't get it. I just don't get it. All right, tell you. I'm gonna tell you right now. So these are the checklists, okay? You guys need to get a checklist. Number one, when we are deciding which organizations get funding, all right? Which organizations get funding? Hi, Soul Journey. Thank you so much for joining. You guys who are just coming in, please invite your followers because this right here is about to be the inside scoop on which organizations actually get grant funding. I am so serious about this thing. It just never occurred to me that I did not say this in all of my scopes, right? This is gold right here now. This is gold. And this is what you're not going to find on Google, right? Because I have been writing grants for close to 30 years successfully. I have raised millions of dollars. And I just kind of do it. And so anyway, this is it. Before you start seeking a grant, before and counting, right? Now I'm not just writing grants. I'm hoping to raise that number for you all being successful as well. Before you start seeking grant dollars, you need to make sure that your mission is clear. Your mission is clear. Your organizational mission is clear. Now, let me tell you what happens. I, as a grant reviewer, I know that many of you guys are on the hunt for grant funding. How do I know? Because the people call me and say, Jen, do you think this program is going to get funding? Do you think this is a great idea to get funding? Do you think how should I change it so that I can get funding? Now, this is what happens. When your mission is not clear, you are swayed by the funds. You are swayed by the funds. What does that mean? You are on the hunt for an RFP. You are looking for a dollar amount. And whatever they ask for, however they say they want it, you will move from your mission to get that funding. You will be writing for the dollars. Now, let me tell you how this comes out as a reviewer, right? So as I'm reviewing your proposal, your mission is your mission. How do I know? Because that's what you put in your bylaws. That's on all your pamphlets. That's on all your websites. It is clear what your mission is. But if you are writing for the money, you see an RFP, you run across a pot of money, and then you now start designing. You have a grant writer that knows nothing about what you do, has no care about your mission, starts writing stuff to meet the needs and the requirements of that RFP, but it doesn't line up with your mission. I, as a reviewer, am looking at this saying, this ain't got nothing to do with what they do. I now know that you are only writing for the money. Now that's a red flag for a funder. Why? Because now I'm wondering, do you have the systems to account for how these funds are spent? Because you still got to deliver your mission. You're going to take this money and you're going to go off and do your mission, which may not be in line with what you've said in the proposal. Or you've missed the mark totally in writing the grant. You've written it about your program, but it does not meet the mission of the funder. Okay. Hi, Kenneth Jackson. Thank you so much for joining. Mashuri, thank you for inviting followers. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Natural Bell, for coming back. All right, guys, please stop me if this does not make sense. All right. You have got to be clear about your mission, and you have got to identify funders that are also interested in the target audience that you are serving and that their mission is in line with yours. That's where the research part comes in. That's why when you guys are out there trying to find a grant writer that can research funding for you, can you go out and find me some funding? Don't have them looking for a dollar amount where your mission does not line up. The mission of the funders. That's a great question. Thank you for asking me questions. Yes, yes, yes. All right, so this is what that means. A funder will say, I am interested in certain criteria. In every RFP or a grant announcement, right, a request for a proposal, RFP, they are saying, we want applications to come in, basically. And they say, thank you, Kenneth, for sharing. I appreciate that. They will say, this is our area of interest. This is our area of interest. And they may say teens, they may say disadvantaged, they may say the elderly. They'll list all these areas of interest. These are the areas in which they are interested in funding programs, right? These are the limitations. They will say you have to have a nonprofit, you might be an individual, you might be a business. You may have to live in a certain area. They may say we'll fund anybody from anywhere, national, right? And they will say, these are the restrictions, okay? They'll be very clear. Now, this organization, let's say for Target, their mission, the target of the Mission Foundation is education. Education. That's what they're interested in. That's their mission. The mission of this organization that's giving away money is this, right? Hi, Titus 2. Thank you for joining. So you want to do your research about the funder, right? Their thing is education. Anyhow, in any way that you can educate teens, the elderly, whatever your program component is. Thank you for inviting followers. Hi, Radio. Thank you so much for joining. Good to see you again. Hello, hello, Titus 2. Thank you for joining in. Thank you for joining in. So you want to be able to do the research. Good morning. To do the research of the funder. All right. They have a mission. Hi, Katie Sources. Hi, Social Media Chick. Thank you so much for joining. Do we have to be in agreement? Do you have to be in agreement? You want to be in alignment. Why? Because, good afternoon. Because the funder is interested. They have money. They have money and they're saying, this is our area of interest. This is our criteria. This is how much money we have to give. We are looking to partner with organizations that can deliver the program areas that we are interested in. Did I miss a lot? No, we're just getting started. We're talking about the mission. And so the funder is saying, hey, we got money. We want to partner. This is our mission. And we are looking for organizations who have a similar mission that they can have impact in this area. You got it? All right, good. So that's how they know you're not just writing to me randomly. That is why the research, that is understanding what your mission is, lining up with the funder's mission, because if they actually marry together, now you got continued funding, right? Now you are able to report back to that foundation because a report is required. The foundation is public funds. They have a board of directors. They have to report back and report out on the money that they are giving out to organizations to meet their need. Just like you guys have a report, the funder has a report. Y'all got my hand situation going on, right? So listen, You guys have a mission as an organization. How do I know who is the funder? You know by the research that you do. You know by the awards that they send out. They send out announcements, right? If you are, the key is, do you understand your mission? Because you only want to seek and identify funders that will help you leverage and move forward with your mission. Titus 2, thank you so much for sharing. And thank you guys for the hearts. Listen, this morning I woke up. Hi, Lady D. Good to see you. Good to see you. I know that many of you guys have a lot of questions, right? And I am so happy to have this platform to share it with you, right? I just have been doing this for close to 30 years that sometimes I just start rambling. So please, if I say anything that you're like, wait, I don't get that, please ask, because my whole point is to let you know. So is the program needs to already be in place for the profit, or does this apply for a nonprofit? Your program and your mission. Hello, Mr. Black. Good to see you. Good to see you. Your program lines up with your mission, right? I always say the question is not if there are grant funds. There are grant funds. The question is, do you have a program that is clearly thought out? You understand the impact. You are able to communicate that impact to the fundor, and that you understand the budget of what that's going to cost. That's the question. Do you have a program that understands its impact, that understands the activities that it's going to take to have that impact, all right? And that you understand the funding that is required. As I have been sharing with you guys the last couple of days, right, having no plan is crazy, right? And you don't want just the money. Why? Because you've got to report back on the money. Funders are going to ask you for a report. Why? Because they've got to report back to their board of how the money was spent. Grants are not free. Grants are not free. If they were free, there would be no application, there would be no guideline, and there would be no report. So after the mission, how do I go by researching? Okay, so then you've got to be able to understand your program and your services, right? So number 2, clear mission. And then program and services, because your program and services should be designed in such a way that you are accomplishing your mission. That's as simple as I can put it. Many times we are swayed by the money and completely lose sight of our mission and create impossible programs and services that you are not able to manage and accomplish. Because funding is only for a certain amount of time, right? So you might have the gift for a year, and then at the end of that year, you've got to report back to the funder. But if you don't understand your program, you don't understand the services, how then are you going to report back that we did this, we accomplished this, we measured it, and we know how much it cost? It's not an issue of activity. The activity has to be able to communicate impact. How do you know what you are doing is right? I was sharing with someone, I don't know if she's here, she's in the current boot camp. And we were talking about, hi social media, Media Shake, thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for sharing. We were talking about program and services, right? Hi Dawn, thank you so much for joining. We were talking about program and services. Client just, this is good, since I gotta watch this on the play. Awesome. Come back and watch it on the play. Hello, Dawn. Hello. So this is how you know quality of program and services. So you might say to me, Jen, I want to mentor teens. I have a program where I want to mentor teens. I'm like, great. So tell me about your program. What does your program consist of? We want to mentor teens. Well, what does mentor mean? What does mentor mean? And what you mentoring about? And if you are just standing up talking to kids, and the issue is you want to change their behavior, you want to change their mindset, you want to change their attitude, you want to change the way they dress, you want to give them information. In this mentoring program, how do you know that those things are happening? How do you know that their attitude is changing? How do you know that their mindset is changing? How do you know? just by standing up and mentoring? No. You've got to understand the impact of what you are doing is causing the change, because that is why your mission is extended. We want to inspire, we want to motivate, we want to encourage. How do you know that the services and the program that you have designed is doing that? How do you know? Because everybody wants the mentor, right? I'm a pastor. All right. So I want a mentor. I want people who are in my congregation to get their lives together, right? And really trust God. But how do I know? How do I know that my preaching, that my teaching is having an effect? How do I know? How do I know? That's the same thing, you guys. How do you know? You notice a change. So now you have a system in place to notice a change, right? You have put together program activities that cause them to demonstrate, to speak out the difference. But you had to know what they were before to notice the difference. That is all a part of the program services that tie into your mission, and that you have a system in place to recognize that change. That's the impact. And many of you guys are not communicating clearly the impact. As a funder, right? As a person who is reviewing a proposal, I can look at it and I can say, they have a mission, but they have not convinced me that they have a program and service and efficient operations to communicate to the funder that you understand impact, and that you understand that you have actually done what you said you were going to do. Because that's got to be reported back. How many people did you serve? How often did you serve them? What was the change when they came in, when they went out? How do we know that your program is effective? How do we know? Because we're interested in funding those organizations who are effective. Is that clear? Is that clear? So those funders, those programs that are successful at getting grant dollars are able to communicate impact. I say to you guys all the time, grant writing is a competitive process. It's a competitive process. A funder only has a certain amount of money to give out. They will say in the application, we only have a pool of $100,000. The average gift will be between $5,000 and $20,000, and we are only going to award so many gifts, right? That means out of a stack, I as a reviewer got to stack hundreds of proposals, and I'm going through disqualifying first. Why? Because then I don't have all these things to read. What am I looking for? Those who have not met the guidelines, those who did not discuss their impact, and I can tell on the first page. How do I know? I'm going to tell you how I know. So y'all got a mission, right? You got a mission. I'm looking at your mission, and now I'm looking at the criteria of the proposal. What's the area of interest of the proposal? How much money are they giving out, right? So I'm looking at your mission. I'm looking at the criteria of the foundation, of the funder, and now I'm going to your program. And I'm wanting to know, how have you designed this program to meet your mission and the criteria of the funder? And then I'm going to the budget, because I want to know, how'd you line up this budget? What are your relationships? What is your community involvement? Right? What area of expertise do you have involved with your making? Not that you need a whole bunch, but you need to be able to say, listen, if I'm going to be dealing with juveniles who've been in the system and have a problem, and you don't have the qualifications to do that, who are you partnering with to help you do that? And is mentoring the only thing we got going? What are we mentoring about? And how much is that going to cost? Because if your program budget says, just basically, I can serve how many people? When you say I want to serve teens, I'm thinking, how many teens? How many teens are you serving? I want to serve all the teens. There's no way you serving all the teens. No way. No way. With a limited budget. So how many people are you going to serve? Are you going to serve 50 a day, 50 a week, 50 a month? How many are you going to serve? Because that has to be in line with your budget. If your budget is $20,000 and you got activities, you got expenses, how many you gonna serve? So I take your budget and I divide it by per person. How many people are you serving? How much is it per person? Let me just get it real simple. How many are you serving per person? Once I have that number, and it's a competitive process, you say I can do it for $100 per person. Next person says I can do it for $75 per person. This person down here says I can do it for $50 per person. As a funder, we are looking for impact, and efficiency. And how much is it going to cost? That's as simple as I can tell you. All right. So you're looking for a clear mission. You are looking for program quality and services, and you are looking for efficient operations. Who are your community partners? How do you plan to manage that? Who is responsible for managing this grant? Because you are going to have to give a report. Okay. So those organizations that are considered favorably by the funder has thought through all of that. They have a budget that is in line with the delivery of the program. I say to you guys all the time, grants are not free. And overall, grants only make up about 20% of your organizational budget. If you do not have an organizational budget, the bigger question is, how is your organization going to be sustainable? Why should this foundation give money to an organization that does not have a sustainability plan? Why? That's the real deal of that, guys. Not only do you want to leverage this program for grant funding, you also want to be able to take that same mission and your program to get the other 80% of the funding that your organization needs for sustainability. And that is why the foundation will ask you for your budget. They want to know your organizational budget. Do you got a plan to be around next year? Or are we just putting this money in a black hole? Now, back in the day, y'all, I've been doing this for close to 30 years. Back in the day, you could ask money for anything. You could ask money for anything. Anything. What happened? People did not manage the money well, and so then they cracked down. Hi, bikers. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for joining. And when they did not, when they realized, now who was they? When they, the funders, the foundations, because they get together and they talk, y'all. They get together on a regular. They talk. They got together and they said, you know what? We think that possibly these organizations who are out to meet a service and community need, maybe they need some professional development. Maybe they need some help in understanding impact, because as a foundation with money, we want to make sure that out in the community, those of you guys who are on the ground floor understand impact, because that's what we need to know. We need to know that we are funding for impact. Now, many of you guys just starting out, you don't have space to hire Jen, a Grant Guru with close to 30 years of experience. Jen, we ain't got no money, we can't hire you. We absolutely can't hire you, right? Okay, hi. Thank you so much for joining. So then what happens? They pulled some money together. All these foundations, all these funders gave money to the United Way. They got all this money together and they said, listen, we want you to go out and we want y'all to spend money on program impact, outcomes management. This thing went on for almost 10 years. They had money that they were pouring into nonprofits, helping them understand outcomes, management, impact, because the foundations are saying, listen, maybe if we train them, they will send us a better report. But then the money ran out. However, the requirement did not change. It never changed. They just wrapped a nice name around it, put money towards it to help nonprofit organizations understand the importance of impact. But then the money ran out. Everything changed, right? But that requirement never went away. This is what I do, guys. I have been doing this work I was there. I was doing the training for outcomes management. When it first came out, Jen, the Grant Guru, was there. Yes, I was there. Which is why when I train in my boot camp, when I work with my clients, I am saying to them, listen, you need to understand outcomes. You need to understand impact, because that is still a requirement on the application. Hi, Roberta. Good to see you. Thank you so much for joining. Are there any questions about what I've just said? Any questions at all? Okay. Before I move forward to the last thing. Hi, hi, hi. All right. Is this all right? Is this good? Put a 1 in the box if it's good, if you're understanding, if I'm clear, right? I want to be a good teacher. I want to make sure that I am painting a visual picture for you to understand, right? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Good, good, good. So those organizations that get grant funding have a clear mission. They understand their programs and services, right? They have operations, which means they have people who are accountable for managing the funds, because grants are designated funds. Grants are designated funds. Okay? Grants are designated funds. That means you've got to manage those dollars to that program, right? Grants make up only 20% of your overall operating budget. How then are you going to use, did I get your email? When did you send me an email? I probably did. Did I respond? Did I not respond? Oh my God, help me respond. Designated program. So you need to understand how to get the other 80% of your organizational budget financed. All right? I didn't get that. You need to understand how to fund the other 80% of your operational budget. All right? Your operational budget, because that's where your sustainability lies. You got designated funds, and then you also need non-designated funds. The non-designated funds are going to pay for your salaries, pay for your building, pay for your lights, pay for the van, pay for all the other stuff that's not wrapped up in the funds for this program. All right? Is that clear? So not only do I want you to think about, how do I get grant funds? Jen, can you help me get grant funding? I said, yes, I can. Let's get that. Oh, by the way, do you have money for your other or operations? Because a funder is going to want to know your overall budget. They're going to want to know how you rocking and rolling. They want to know, what is your income? How are you going to raise money? As well as your expenses. All right? They want to understand that you know the difference. Why do nonprofits fail? There are 3 top reasons that most nonprofit organizations fail. They do not have a sustainability plan. They do not have a sustainability plan. Hi, Ms. Anointed. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. You guys, please share this with your followers if you have not. Please, please, please. And thank you for the hearts. If what I'm giving to you is in some way relevant, you know, one way that it's indicated to me that I'm telling you something that's worthwhile is the hearts. The second reason that nonprofit organizations fail is because they are not able to deliver and to articulate impact. Impact. Thank you, Lady D, for involving followers. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dawn. Thank you so, so much. That their inability to communicate impact is another reason that nonprofit organizations fail. All right? Because I should be able to communicate impact, not only in a grant, but to an individual, to a major donor, to a corporation, right? That is where my non-designated funds are going to come from. My ability to communicate impact to other areas for a diverse funding stream for my organization's sustainability. Grants are not going to support your organization, right? Many of you guys know. Many of you guys are having car washes, fish fries, selling t-shirts, and doing all this other stuff, trying to get funds that will help your organization operate. Hi, Nashug. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for joining. Right? So you guys are seeking those dollars that are not supported You're welcome. Thank you for joining, right? But you guys have to think strategically. When you are trying to identify that other 80%, everything you do should tie back into impact. All right? So, nonprofit organizations fail because they don't have a sustainability plan, they are not able to articulate impact, and poor leadership. What is leadership? Leadership is the board of directors who should make sure that you have a sustainability plan. If you are the leader of your organization, poor leadership means you have not thought about sustainability of your organization. Lack of leadership in making sure that your organization understands how it is going to sustain itself. Those are the top 3 reasons that nonprofits fail. That's the truth, right? So I should be able to say, what is your program? Now, when people get on my calendar, right? So I do my little consult. People call me, Jen, let me talk to you. Can we connect with a consultation? I live in Waldorf. Get on my calendar, on my profile. It's a bit.ly time with Jen. Hi, Mad Bees. Thank you so much for joining. Bit.ly time with Jen gets on my calendar, and I do a 45-minute consult there. We can talk about your whatever you need, okay? We can talk about what you need. Yes, thank you so much, Radio. I appreciate you. You're welcome. Listen, understanding your program impact. It's not the question. Now, when people call me, I tell y'all, should I search how to manage funds? Your church should have a system that manages the funds and keeps those funds separated, right? So whatever goes, it should not be, all mixed and mingled in with the tithes and the offerings. Hi, I'm loved too. Amen. Thank you for joining. There should be a management system for those program dollars, that those program dollars are managed separately from the operating expenses. Why? Because when you report back to the funder, they want to know just how my funds were spent. That's all they want to know about. How was my funds spent? What you do with my money? Right? So you want to be able to account for how those funds were allocated to whatever program that you wrote for. All right? So those need to be kept separately or accounted for appropriately. All right? Is that clear? Okay, guys, listen, I don't want you guys, good. Please stop me at any time if I'm, rambling on and on. And if there's something that I say that's not clear. What I want you guys to be really careful of when you call me and you say, Jen, are there grant funds for this? I don't want you all to be swayed by the money. Don't get swayed by the money. That's a mission sway. And then when I'm looking at stuff, right, I'm reviewing documents, I'm looking at it and I am saying, this is not your mission. How did we get way over here doing something that has nothing to do with your mission because you were swayed by the money? And let me tell you, a funder knows that you just write for the money. That also lets me know that because you are not clear about your mission, we're not sure you are clear about how you're going to spend this money. You might spend this money in a kind of shaky way because your mission is shaky. Your mission is shaky. A foundation's mission ain't shaky because they done got applications, a stack of applications. Stack. And we are wanting to fund those who are clear about their program mission. They then are clear about program delivery. They're clear. Sounds like it's important to have other ways to raise money. Oh, yes. Got to have a diverse funding stream. Hi, Jeff. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for joining. You have to have a diverse funding stream. Why? Because once the funds of that grant run out, there's no guarantee that you're going to get another one. I am new to this. Thank you. Oh, you're welcome. Do you help with that? Yes, I do. Listen, guys, I labeled myself Jen the Grant Guru. A grant is not your annual budget. No, it's not. But I am a nonprofit organizational expert. And my friend who drugged me on to this platform, let me tell you, I was drugged because I don't tell people what I do. I do not tell people what I do. I do not tell people that I raise money. I do not tell people that I help nonprofit organizations. I made my mother stop telling people what I do. Why? Because, then it's, Pastor Jen, can you help me with my nonprofit? Pastor Jen, can you help me? And it's like, oh my gosh. I'm like, Mom, don't tell anybody else what I do for a living. Don't, no. So I don't tell people what I do. Why? Because those of you guys who call me, please don't call me and ask me. The question is not, Jen, do you think I can get funding for this? Do you think this is a good idea? Because then I say, I feel like I'm being pimped. I feel almost kind of cheap. I feel like, y'all just sending me out to work to go get the money. Just go get the money. No. The issue is, are you able to get the money and then keep getting money? Not just grant money, because you need other money. You need money from corporations. Y'all want your sponsorships. Y'all want all your tables bought. You want all this stuff from corporations, right? You need money from individuals. Jen, you live in LA. Can you call so-and-so and ask them if they will support my program? Why would they support your program? Why? Can we talk about impact? Can we talk about impact? It ain't just the issue of you got a program. No, it's impact. Why did nonprofits fail? Because they are not able to communicate impact. It ain't just, there is no free money. Hey, Ned Shugs, will you give me $100,000 just because I asked you? Will you just give me $100,000? Can I get rich quick? Right. Let me just ask them. Just ask them for $100,000. They got it. I know they got it. They got it. But will they give it to you? You'd be looking at me like, what? You want my money for what? What you gonna do with my money? The same thing, guys. But if you communicate impact, if you communicate a change and a difference that you are making, now I'm listening to you. But nonprofit organizations fail because they are not able to articulate. Now, we can talk about handout. Give me a handout. But you might get that $5 the first time. But what you needed is the second time and then the third time. How are you going to engage a donor? Well, how are you guys engaged? Right? You guys get mail you get mail. You get mail from the American Heart Association. You get mail from the Goodwill. You get mail from all these, or Easter Seals, all these places in your mailbox asking you for money. They want you to buy into their impact. They want to know, are you interested in this subject matter to help me on a sustained basis? Why? Because they need sustained income. Sustainability. All right? Have you thought about sustainability? I come in and I help your organization determine within your organization's capacity, organizational capacity, human resource capacity, be it your board, be it your volunteers, be it whoever is working with you. How can we use tools and human resources that you have to plan a sustainability plan? Now, let me tell you what I think about plans that are not used. They are whack, crazy plans. And people are crazy for not using a plan. Having no plan is a bad plan. Bad plan. Y'all know how much money it takes every month to sustain your household. You know how much your rent, your mortgage is. You know how much gas, food. You know how all that. You know how much at the end of the month I need to keep my house. The same with your organization. Not only do you know, but you out hustling to make it happen. And then to say to me, Jen, every dime I have, I'm working. And every dime I have going into this nonprofit. I'm like, that's a really bad plan. That is not a sustainability plan. That's a bad plan. There's got to be an easier plan. There has to be. There is an easier plan, guys. There is an easier plan. That's what I do, is I help you work within your system. And then we get angry at the board. Then we get angry at the doggone grant writer. We get angry. I'm like, oh, can we all just calm down? Can we all calm down and work the plan? Every month, I should know how close am I to reaching my monthly goal? And your board of directors should be looking at your finances at least every quarter. What were the top 3 reasons that nonprofit organizations fail? 1, no sustainability plan. 2, inability to communicate impact. And 3, poor leadership. If there is not a plan for sustainability, and if there is not a review to make sure that you are raising the funds to keep your organization functioning and thriving to be sustainable, whose fault would that be? The leadership's fault. I wish I had fake lashes, because then I could do the blink blink. Do you get what I'm stepping in, guys? Do you understand what I'm stepping in? Does that make sense? All right? So if you're going to go out and get grant funding, which I say do, right? The only people who get grants are those that apply. And those that apply who are actually awarded grants get them because they have a clear mission. They understand their program and their services. They are able to communicate that the impact of their program is effective, right? And they've wrapped an appropriate budget around it. Those are the ones who get funding. If you want to make sure that your organization is grant ready, it's not just having a program. It's not just having an idea, but it's having a program and an impact. You understand impact. That's what we talk about in the boot camp. That's what we talk about in the webinar. I've got a webinar coming up April 27th. For those of you guys who did not make it into the Grant Writing Bootcamp, on April 27th, I'm doing a webinar on how to get grant funding now. And in that webinar, I'm going to talk to you about your organization, about the needs of your community, and sustainability. Awesome, lady. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. I'm glad that it was helpful to you. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for the hearts. Blessings to you. Blessings to you. Well, I have the right now. Yeah, I'm consistent having impact. Good, good, good. Thank you so much, Radio. Thank you for putting up the link for the webinar on the 27th. Are there any questions at all for me? Guys, I am starting a private Facebook group where I will be talking to this group about their program needs. I will be doing, hi, Miss Tizzy. Thank you so much for joining. In this private group, I'm going to be doing tips and coaching and live stream into this group to help you guys kind of get organized. All right. If you are interested in being in this Facebook group, it's a private group. Do you help with branding? I am not a branding expert. I'm not. When are you coming back? I'll be back this evening. I scope twice a day. If you're not following me, please follow me. Yes. Hey, newbies. Oh, yes. Yay, newbies. That's what the private group is for. It's for those of you guys who are just starting out and just really want some information on what to do. Send me an email at jen@jenthegrantguru.com and just email me your Facebook name so that I can invite you to this private group. All right. It's just a private group that I'm putting together for nonprofit organizations where we'll be talking about getting started, grant writing, organization, making sure that your board is in place, that you understand organizational structures and things like that. Yes, repeat that again. So send me an email to Jen, Jen, @jenthegrantguru.com. And just put in that email, just put your Facebook name. Because sometimes I search for people on Facebook and I can't find them. I don't know their name. I misspell their name. So if you just email me your Facebook name, then I will invite you to join this private group. Thank you, Radio. Thank you, Radio. Yeah, and I scope at least twice a day, if not sometimes 3 times a day, depending on how inspired I am. But this morning, I was just inspired by the conversation I had with one of my boot campers. I hope this has been helpful. Are there any questions at all for me? Thank you so much for the hearts. Thank you for the shares. Thank you to the replay viewers. One more time. The email address, jen@jenthegrantguru.com. jen@jenthegrantguru.com. And just send me an email with your Facebook name and I will invite you to this private group that I'm forming, just to share with those of you guys who are just starting up. Just some tips, things to think about when you're organizing, things to think about when you're seeking funding. I'll be doing some live stream in that group just to kind of answer questions there that I just can't really do appropriately here. But hopefully this information you find helpful. Okay? Are there any questions at all? Any questions at all? Right? I want you guys to be successful. I want you to go out and get the grant funding that you need. I want you to be competitive in the process. Be competitive. It is a grant. It's a competitive process. Amen. Thank you. Hi, Pastor 6767. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for joining us. So guys, I have been doing this work of grant writing, research, and review, along with working in the nonprofit organization for close to 30 years. Bless you, bless you, bless you. For close to 30 years. I started out as an intern, right? I didn't wake up one day understanding how to write these things. I started out as an intern, but over my course of 30 years, I am now a professional fundraiser and a nonprofit expert, right? I've been the executive director. I've worked for large international organizations, training my affiliates on how to raise money. It is so great to see Black women helping each other in scope. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, I was elevated to my first national organization by working at a local affiliate. I worked for Girl Scouts here in Southern California, and we had to do a grant for Wells Fargo. It was for $1 million, but it was for a collaboration. Wells Fargo's wanted us to collaborate within these 10 councils on how to spend $1 million. And they needed a volunteer to collaborate, to write the grant in this collaboration. I, in my crazy, raised my hand. Oh yeah, I could do that. I love everybody. Everybody loves me. I'll do that. I'll tell y'all, by the end of that doggone 6 weeks, I was like, y'all are crazy. Why? Because everybody assumed, oh my gosh, it's $1 million. All of us are going to get $100,000. And I had to break their hearts and say, no, that cannot be. Why? Impact. Impact. Bakersfield is nice, but it is not the same level of service, capacity of service as Los Angeles. It's just not. Los Angeles has a bigger area of impact than Bakersfield. Bakersfield is very nice. I love Bakersfield. But it's different. It is not the same amount of impact that can be done in terms of service delivery capacity as, let's say, Los Angeles, right? When I tell you them people were hot with me, they were hot with me because they thought, oh, wait, this is going to be easy. Everybody get $100,000. I was like, no. We got to look at capacity and impact. I am in California. I'm in California, right? So capacity and impact were different. By the time I got through that thing, okay, and we got awarded, we were awarded the grant. Once we were awarded the grant, the national organization called me. Hey, you. Yeah, you. I'm like, me? Little old me? Yeah, you. You understand the dangers of going in and helping people put together a grant proposal. We have created a brand new position that we want you to work in. I was like, oh, me? They moved me to New York from Los Angeles, from Pasadena. That's where I'm from. They moved me to New York. I thought, how different can New York be? New York can't be that different. I mean, come on now. Los Angeles, how different can New York be? OMG. When I got to New York, I was like, I have never in my life taken a subway. I've never seen a beast of a rat. I've never seen a rat. I've never seen a rat. Oh my gosh. And they are everywhere. What? You're from Dina too? Yes, girl. PHS all the way. Yeah. Crazy. It was a time. But I love that job. I traveled to 317 councils all across the country and internationally, training people on providing technical assistance on their grant writing. I was the grant writing expert. Now, the only other thing was that we also had to be a generalist. That meant, oh my gosh, 84. That tells my age. That I had to become a generalist. That means I had to be able to tell them how to raise money, not just through grants, But I also had to share with them their board, their new executive directors, their new development directors, their volunteers on how to raise money within their within their communities, outside of grants, right? Outside of grants. So I got to travel to places like Hot Coffee, Mississippi. Hot Coffee, Mississippi. The best fried, I'd never had fried pickles before until I got to Mississippi. Hot Coffee, Mississippi. I rolled into town. They had a part-time executive director and 2 volunteers that only worked 2 hours a day. But I had to work with them to figure out how can you raise money here in Hot Coffee, Mississippi. Sustained income, not just grants, but sustained incomes. And in many cases, we had to build collaborations. Collaborations had to work, right? And that's what I did. That's how I started. And I became a generalist. I became the person that said, I can help you raise money anywhere you are. When I say anywhere, anywhere. If I can help Hot Coffee, Mississippi. All right. Hi, Long Cole. Thank you so much. I won't let the distance discourage me. No. Hi, Miss Tizzy. Thank you so much for inviting followers. So, guys, yeah, I travel. I come in. I do trainings. I do workshops. I teach people. That's what my boot camp is all about. I tell people, please don't hire a grant writer. Please don't hire a grant writer. Hi, Prissy Sissy. Thank you so much for joining. Don't hire no grant writer. I am a grant writer. And I tell y'all, don't hire me. Don't hire me. Get in my boot camp so I can show you how to do it. That is a better use of your money. I am sensitive to how much money it costs to write a grant. And there's no guarantee. Did I tell you there's no guarantee? Grant writing is a competitive process. Grant review is based upon subjection, right? Me and a bunch of other reviewers making a decision about who is going to get funding or not. So there's no guarantee. Hiring a grant writer is not the thing to do. I am a grant writer. And if you insist, I do. I have people say to me, Jen, I don't want to know. I just don't want to know. I just want to hire you to do it. I'm like, all right, well then I'll cash your check. Absolutely, I'll cash your check. But I tell people, listen, y'all don't hire me to write your grant. Hire me to teach you how to write your grant, but don't hire me to write. If you want to, I will. And yes, I will cash your check all day long. But we understand that you've paid me, which is a guarantee, but there is no guarantee that you're going to get funding. Why? It is a competitive process. Only a limited number of people are going to get the funding. It is not the grant writer's job for you to understand your impact. Because if you don't communicate that impact to me as the writer, that's not my job. That's your job. Whatever you give me is what I write. That's it. Whatever you give me. If you've not thought through your program, if you don't understand your impact, if you don't understand your systems of how you're going to account for this money, that is not the grant writer's job. Do they like you? Right? So listen, guys, I want you to be encouraged, all right? I want you to be encouraged that there is help, right? I come on these scopes to try to help you make sure that you are in the best position possible. And then you can make the right decisions. You can make the best decisions for your organization moving forward, all right? I kind of had that round, chunky face, just like that one. Are there any questions for me before I let you go? Any questions? How much are the boot camps? The boot camps, I think they're under $500 and they have gone up. And let me tell you why. Because it's a lot of, you are welcome, social media chick. God bless you. God bless you. Are they online? So let me tell you how the boot camps run. Boot camps are very one-on-one. Thank you, radio. One-on-one. So you get in the boot camp and we go through your program. We go through your program. We design your program around your mission. We design your program. We design your program impact statements. We design your program activities. We design who your partners should be and how your organizational structure should be set up for accountability. And then we talk about your budget. All right. And so we go through a real grant proposal, So by the time we are finished completing this proposal, you have one that you can then go out and seek funding for. That's what the boot camp is about. Most people get in the boot camp because they don't know where to start. They're like, Jennifer, I have an idea, but I don't have a clue where to start. I'm learning that you must invest in order to receive the best. Yeah. Listen, hi, Cut to the Heart. Let me tell you. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Please invite your followers. I'm only going to be here a few more moments, but hopefully they'll watch the replay. And thank you for the hearts. Hello, hello, hello. You guys, when I first started as an intern, I was in graduate school. All right. And my semester assignment was to write a grant. That's the only way. That's how I got introduced to grants close to 30 years ago. I had never heard the word grant. Had never heard the word grant. I didn't know what it was. I was working as an intern at a housing authority. I'd never lived in a public housing authority. I didn't know what that was either. However, hi, The Chosen. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. I was working as an intern. The executive director sent me to a workshop, right? So many of you guys may have gone on Google. You guys may have listened to YouTubes. You may have, back then, there was no YouTubes back then. You may have listened to YouTubes. You may have gone to the library put on by the Foundation Center or your local community, right? So what they do is they give you a stack of blank sheets, or they tell you the theory, right? I haven't started anything yet. How do I start? How do I start? You got to be clear about your mission and your target audience. That's how you start. You got to be real clear about who your audience is. All right. And you got to understand the needs of that audience, right? Because based from that need is where you'll be able to understand impact. If you don't understand the need, you won't understand the impact. All right. That's where you start. So I knew that I wanted to know how. So they'll give you a stack of stuff, and Google University will send you down a rabbit trail, and you will be in Google University for wake up the next 5 years, and you ain't going nowhere, because it doesn't tell you how. It tells you what to do, but it doesn't tell you how to do it. And that's why you need to hire a professional that can meet you where you are and can not only tell you on how to write a grant, but also how to use that program, that same program, to get the other 80% of your budget met. Because grants are designated funds. They only make up 20% of your operating budget, right? But if you hire someone like myself, I understand fundraising. I understand the general view of organization sustainability, right? Thank you so much for the hearts. So everything that I speak about is not just designated dollars, because I know that only makes up 20% of your budget. I want to make sure that you know how to take this same program and ask for money to the other streams of income that you need to make up your other 80%. That's program sustainability. All right. Did I answer your question? So when we go through the boot camp, that's what we do. Thank you for inviting followers. Thank you for inviting followers. All right. I hope I answered your question. Awesome. 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 So you guys, if you want to get into my private Facebook group where I'll be talking more specifically and directly about, steps that you guys need to be taking. Hi, Quench. Thank you so much for joining. Things that you might want to do, things of how to put together your board, conversations that you want to have within your leadership, right? Because if these are your organizations, or if you are at the helm of these organizations, please know nonprofit organizations fail because of poor leadership, not having the right information. And please do not go out, spend all that money paying your state all them checks, right? Thanks, John. How you doing? Thank you for joining. Paying all that money to the state, and they will cash your check. They will take your articles of incorporation. They will get your bylaws. They will want to know who's on your board, all of that. Hi. Right? But if you don't have a program that is fundable, then you done paid all that money, and you have no way of knowing of how am I going to sustain this organization? How am I going to not only deliver the program that I said, but sustain my organization? And if you don't use the nonprofit, they will suspend it. They will suspend your status. They will cash your check again when you want to reinstate it, but you still got to have a program. You still have to understand what your mission is and have a way of accomplishing that, right? For a for-profit business, their bottom line is how much money did you make? For a nonprofit, your bottom line is how did I move the needle? How did I meet a community need? That's why you guys are established. But if you don't understand how to put together a program that is effective, that you are able to manage impact and raise money for, then you're frustrated. And your board's job is not to be in program. That's not the board's job. The board's job is to make sure that your organization is sustaining, that it is living within the mission, the bylaws, the articles of incorporations that you applied for. That's what the board's job is. All right? They are oversight. They manage the manager. They are like the middle person between you and the state and the government to say, hey, we're watching the money. We're watching these public dollars to make sure that they're being spent well. That's just the basic way that I can say that. All right? Are there any questions? Any questions at all for me? If you guys want to get on my calendar, talk to me about it. bit.ly time with Jen will get you on my calendar, right? If you want information about the boot camp, and I think that is the best money spent, is the boot camp. The best money spent. Listen, if you're gonna hire a grant writer for $1,000, if you hire them for the first time, did you say that you have a Facebook group? Yes, send me an email at jen@jenthegrantguru with your Facebook name, so that when I search you to invite you to that group, I get names all jacked up, jammed up all the time. And then I'll be like, oh my gosh, I didn't spell it right. But if you just email me and say, hey, this is my Facebook name, then I'll add you to the group. I'll add you to the group. Wow, radio, we're doing great on the hearts, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So guys, don't hire a grant writer and think that just because you hired a grant writer and because you paid them $1,000 minimum, you paid them $1,000, that that's the way to get, no. If you don't have a well thought out program, they can only write what you give them. Why not? To me, that's why I came up with the boot camp. Because I'm like, don't pay me a lot of money to write your grant. Because if you pay me the first time, I know you're going to have to come back and pay me the second time. Now, if I was money hungry, I could be like, oh yeah, I can write your grant. Yeah, I can write your grant. Hey, I can write your grant. I can write your grant. I know you may not get funded for it, because if your program is jacked up, not my job to tell you your program is jacked up. You just hired me to write your grant. But I've worked in the nonprofit. Listen, guys, I have worked in the nonprofit. I know that every dime spent, I got to figure out how I'm going to get this back. Every dime spent, I got to figure out how to get this thing back. That's because I'm thinking about sustainability all the time. So I know that it's better for me to teach you how to fish. It's better to teach you and then support you than to have you hire me at a much bigger rate to do it for you. Amen. Listen, guys, I ain't new to this. I've been doing this a long time. And I have heard every sob story imaginable. Grant writing, $2,000 per proposal, no guarantee, right? That's expensive. That is expensive. And you don't understand why the proposal is put together the way it is. I can say this to you before I let y'all go. I have been doing this for close to 30 years. The proposal has not changed. The way the proposal is submitted has changed, right? Didn't used to have the online thing, right? You couldn't just do it online. Now you can send a proposal online. But the proposal itself has not changed. Those questions and why they're asking those questions and the way that they're asking those questions are relevant. Hi, Chosen. Hi. And so in the boot camp, we walk through all of it so that you walk away saying, I understand. I get it. I understand why and how I should put my program together. If nothing else, that right there is valuable. Because if you don't know how to put your program together, guess what? You're not seeking funding. That's expensive. You're not getting the funding you need for sustainability. That's expensive. You don't understand how to articulate your impact. That's expensive. Yeah, just the way you look at it. Any way you look at it. All right? Okay, guys. Any questions for me before I let you go? Any questions? I will be back later. I will be back a little bit later. All right, guys. I want to say thank you. Thank you to my replay viewers. Thank you to those of you who joined. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you for the shares. Thank you for your great questions. I love coming on here and answering questions. I do. All right. You guys have an awesome rest of your day. It's just 11:40 here. If you get on my calendar, if you happen to get on my calendar, bit.ly time with Jen is my calendar. Thank you, radio. I appreciate you so much. Recognize that I am in California, so the calendar is set on Pacific Standard Time. All right. Pacific Standard Time. I know most of y'all in the East Coast, Atlanta, all over the place, but I am in California. All right. Okay, guys, thank you so much for your attention. I'll be back a little bit later, and I just want you guys to be encouraged. Be encouraged. That is my email address. If you want to get into the private group, just email me your Facebook name, and I will invite you into the group. All right, guys? All right. Take care. Blessings to you, and I'll be back later.